So I worked with Steve on the previous movie. We were working on a movie called Animal Olympics. And at the time, I remember you talking about this idea, which was so new that none of us really had processed it. And I have to say, throughout the making of this movie, you were always philosophizing about what it meant. And we were going, I remember your idea about like frontiersmen looking down on the mountain where nobody had been before. Why is this movie so relevant today? What is it about what you were thinking of then that still resonates today?
Before I get into that, I want to say one thing about Bill, which was that our studio came from Boston and we were self-taught in animation and film. We went to film school, but it was an East Coast rebellion thing. We didn't understand Hollywood. Non-linear filmmaking, it was called. But anyway, we came out here and Bill had been trained at Disney, and Jerry Reese and Brad Bird and these Disney guys left because nothing was really happening that was that exciting at the time at Disney, and they came to work on TRON, starting with Animal Olympics. And it was just amazing how thorough their education was in film and story, and it really impressed me. And so we got the light cycle sequence, and I looked at Bill, and I basically said this to myself, but I said, well, Bill, if you're so smart, figure this one out. And boy, did they figure that sequence out. Really, they did an incredible job. But anyway, the other part about, at the time, I've been asked this question recently by a French film magazine, and they said the guy's English wasn't very good, so he said, how do you predict the future? Like, I knew the secret. So, and I said, well, we weren't trying to predict the future. Well, and maybe someone can use this information. It was divided up into certain interests. We were very interested in film, and animation is sort of software for live action. So it reduces film to its basic components. We were discovering computer animation. We were talking to people that were programmers and doing dreaming of a vision of the internet and personal computing, and also special effects in terms of backlight animation. And in each one of these, and compositing, there was no film compositing. So everybody was separate. And if you spent time talking to the people in each one of these arenas, they would it would be like a compass heading. They would point to a future, but they weren't sure where the future really was. But they weren't talking to each other. We were talking to all of them together, and if you lined up the arrows, they intersected somewhere up ahead. But we couldn't converge all these techniques because there was no digital compositing. So, but with film, you can find a way to do, it's called movie magic. And so we contrived ways to converge all of these techniques. And to our amazement, it actually worked. And so I think predicting the future means finding intersections by looking at different things and seeing where they might meet up ahead.
Well, it was the classic scenario of jumping off a cliff and building your wings on the way down. I mean, you started this movie, and the sample.
You build a light cycle of the way down.
Well,
yeah.
The reels we had at the beginning had nothing in them that showed the capability that ended up on the screen 2 years later. The movie the technology was invented as it went along. But I just remember your core idea, which is so compelling and still is, of a guy who basically creates a world. He's a god who creates a world, then he goes into that world, and he meets the creatures he created.
Well, there were two classic archetypal characters. Bruce played one and Jeff played the other. And Bruce played a role that is really unusual, which is a person trying to communicate with themselves. I mean, if you think about it, it's really only in TRON where a person actually says, I've got to get in touch with myself. Otherwise, all is lost. And it was a really big deal for him. And in a way, TRON was trying to be reprogrammed by himself, which I think, something that we all are struggling with, you know, to make ourselves more than we are, trying to get in touch with the best in ourselves. And then Jeff played the role of the founder, creator, shaman, who had two friends that were in trouble because they lost their programs and they were kind of sick. And the shaman then goes into the spirit world and he rescues and heals, brings the spirits back and reconnects them with themselves. And I didn't know any of this when I made the film.
I was about to ask Bruce, did he actually have these philosophical discussions with you about the character?
No, we talked about the tights we had to wear. And Stephen baiting me as to how well I could throw a frisbee. And I became pretty damn good on a frisbee, my friend. I haven't touched one since, and it's been 35 years. But no, we didn't. But I as an actor, I'm asked about Tron all the time. All the Comic-Cons I do throughout the country and the world, and I'm still amazed. And thank you all for being fans of this movie and the sequel, because it's still alive. I don't know how many sequels to E.T. there are, and that came out the same summer, did it not? Same year? And you can quote me on that. I do want to fix one thing though. At a Comic-Con, I was doing a podcast, and I was asked about something, and believe me, I'm asked questions way above my pay grade, okay? About when the next movie was going to be, are you going to be in it, or is there going to be, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I'm done with it. I said, I am done with it. Well, I saw this online somewhere. Bruce Boxleitner is done with Tron. And I got some tweets, I want to tell you. So I just wanted, if anybody's going to, tweet about this later, please quote me correctly. I didn't mean I was done with Tron. Like these two gentlemen, Tron's not done with us.
There is one